What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to Grateful Panic Knife Reviews. I'm so glad that you stopped by, and I hope at the end of the video you are too. And if you are, go ahead and like, subscribe, and throw us a comment down below. Today is going to be the first of the hopefully many question and answer videos. We had a really good turnout on that last video and got some really we got some funny questions and got some really good, serious, thought-provoking questions. And I hope you guys will enjoy what I ended up with. And I just wanted to say thank you guys for an awesome turnout. It was very encouraging, and I thoroughly enjoyed making the video, so I definitely hope you guys enjoy watching the video. And go ahead, just whenever the question and answer videos come out, just go ahead and if you got some questions for the next week, go ahead and drop them down below in the comments, and I'll go ahead and start working on another video to put out for you guys. I mean, and honestly, if we get enough questions, put it this way, the more questions we get, the more videos I will put out, because as long as I got questions coming in, I'll put out another video. And of course, in every one that we'll feature a knife. There will be some knives up there. We might, depending on how many questions we have, we may or may not talk about the knife. Just like in this video, the knife that I had on the table actually kind of tied in to one of the questions, so it worked out good. But yeah, seriously guys, just give me as many questions as you possibly can, and I will make as many videos as I possibly can to answer your questions. But before we get into this video, let's go ahead and get a quick panic dump and beverage check out of the way. And I have lost everything. What in the world? Where did I just had it? Oh, right now. Today I was carrying the Bug Out. It's the Smoky, not the Smoky Mountain Knife Works version. It's I guess the Bug Out that they were selling with the titanium handle scales. And I think what we figured out actually in the last live stream, I'm pretty sure what happened was Titanium was getting rid of some old stock, probably sold them to Smoky Mountain Knife Works and maybe some other retailers at pretty good savings, and then they passed it on to us. So hey, win-win. And in addition to that, and I told you guys I was going to change this guy up, and I did, but I mean, it was just with some stuff I already had. I threw the stainless steel machine error markup in there, along with the ETAC D20. I'm just going to take it out and look, because I never remember what the heck it is. It's the D, can't get the flashlight out. This is sad, I'm going to need a flashlight to read what kind of flashlight this is. D25C, and it's a titanium version. It's a good little flashlight. I haven't carried it in a long time. I think it came up missing, and then I just happened to find it. And then, of course, the Alox Cadet. And on the old belt was, as usual, the Monterey Bay Knives Field Trekker. And just carrying one of the old school style tattoo hanks from LTD Custom EDC Gear on Instagram. And you know what, that just reminds me that I had forgotten to put, I think I forgot to put a link to their Instagram in the description last time I said I would, so I will do that in this video, I promise. And today the beverage is some of the New Belgium Voodoo Ranger, and this is the V2K version. It's a grapefruity, as you say on the can, but it's got a lot. Oh, here we go. It's got guava flavor, grapefruit extract, and I don't know what kind of spice, but it says it's got spice in it. And it's kind of a stout-ish one, 6.9%, but it's tasty. It tastes like if you like grapefruit juice, but it's like a sweeter grapefruit juice. It's good. And you know what? How about today we go ahead and, you know what? Let's send a big old hearty Grateful Panic cheers out to our good friend and brother Mateo. Brother Mateo, Zinni, cheers, my friend. That's a tasty. Alright, well, now that we've gotten the pleasantries out of the way, let's go ahead and dive on down and get up close and personal with some of your cues, and I'll give you my A. But you questions for me, answers for you guys. How about that? That works? Alright, cool. Peace. Deuces. What's going on, guys? Bringing it's time to answer a few questions. We got a really good response on the last video as far as people submitting questions that they wanted answered or potentially didn't want answered, because there was a couple that I think were just meant to be jokes, but I ran with it and came up with some answers for them. And I appreciate you guys, the response that we got, because it was a lot better than I expected. Well, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect, because you know how we people are. We never have much faith in ourselves, and I just figured that the video would bomb, and people will probably be like, what in the world are you talking about, dude? Get over yourself. But anyway, so awesome response, and like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you that submitted a question or just commented with encouraging words. I mean, it was really awesome, and so thank you. I reckon we'll go ahead and kick this off with it's actually a serious question from Jared White, aka Commandant Senor Patina Pantalones, and he actually asked, at one point in the last video I said, if you guys are interested in BMX or mountain biking or snowboarding, send me questions along those lines, because that was pretty much my life growing up and then into my young adult years. And he sent in a question that hit pretty close to home. He says, in their prime, Dave Mirra, RIP, or Matt Hoffman. And when I initially read the question, I was like, dang, man, like I've got to choose between the Miracle Boy / Man and the Condor. Good Lord, that's going to be tough, especially since I'm biased, because growing up, and I mean, hey, up until my late 20s, Dave Mirra was like my idol, and I think it kind of started out because we were literally born like a month apart to the day. He was born on April 4th, and I was born on March 4th, and like in the same year. So fan off, quiet down. So yeah, so I, as a little kid, I thought that was just the coolest thing. He was always my favorite rider, and then when he hit, the X Games, I watched those religiously up until probably 2001 or 2. But I was like, I'm gonna be biased. I'm not gonna be able to, make an unbiased decision. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, no, I mean, the facts speak for themselves. Yeah, Matt Hoffman is an amazing rider, but he's all brute force. You know, I mean, he can pull some mean tricks, but when Dave Mirra pulls the same tricks, I don't know, he makes them look easy, and they're dang near flawless. So, because to me, you know, Matt Hoffman's more of a, you know, balls to the wall type rider, whereas Dave Mirra is more finesse and technical. But then again, Matt Hoffman doesn't really have that the technicality and the finesse to go along with his brute force, like Dave Mirra has a little bit of that brute force to go along with his technical riding and his finesse. So I think, in my opinion, Dave Mirra is best all around. He's the GOAT. He is definitely the GOAT. And not to mention, he's won more BMX gold in the X Games than any other rider ever, but that's beside the point. And although he didn't, Jay Miron was the first to land a backflip. Dave Mirra was the first to land a double backflip, so he's just badass. So Jared, my answer is 100% Dave Mirra. And come on, phone. The next question is it's another serious question, and it is Sue Chicken prying into my personal life, and she wants me to tell you guys about my day job. And really, there's not a whole lot to it. I am a kitchen manager I'm a kitchen supervisor. We don't have a kitchen manager. We have kitchen supervisors on, depending on what, you know, every shift every shift has a supervisor, and there's 3 of us, and we rotate. And then we have a food service manager, because we work at a school, and it's a boarding school, but it's also a public school. It's a really kind of weird situation. Basically, it's for kids gifted in math and science. They have to be qualified to go there. They have to have the grades. They have to, I think, pass an entrance exam. And then, even though it's a public school, they get public education or whatever. They live there during the school year, so they pay room and board. So we're kind of under a lot of pressure to impress their parents, you know, basically justify what they're spending their money on. And to me, I'm like, well, they're paying for that education. We're giving them the food for free, but with it being a state-run school, our taxes are actually paying for the education, and they are for the food. But yeah, so basically it's just, and when I say supervisor, that's I'm using that term very loosely, even though that's our official title. It's basically just us, like the one supervisor in the kitchen that does all the cooking, gets it ready, puts it out on the line, and then you got however many, depending on what's going on, anywhere from like 2 to 7 or 8 other employees that work the hotlines and the grill and stuff like that, for the kids to come through, because they'll have a choice of, you know, the hotline getting just regular, normal, everyday food, and then they'll have pizzas down, pizzas and burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that down at the grill area. But that's closed for COVID, so usually it's just 2 or 3 of them now. But yeah, so that's basically who we're supposed to be supervising. But I mean, they can handle their own job. They do a good job. There's some really kick-ass employees there, so we don't have a lot to worry about. Just basically getting our food out there and then cleaning up after ourselves. So that's it. That's my day job. And the next question comes from Juggling Ninja, and that's not his name, but I don't know why that immediately popped in my head, because his name on YouTube is JN. of course, Juggling Ninja, that makes sense. But he has a EDC question, because he says he also he is a fellow fixed blade ESDDC, which stands for every single damn day carry, and he likes seeing the field trekker in all the videos, and wants to know if I would tell you guys about my take on why and how fixed blade is important to me. And yeah, that's pretty simple to me. It just makes sense. And honestly, a lot of it has to do with whereas before, you know, I would buy my folding knives, like buy and carry, based on really needing something that would handle pretty much any task I may or may not come in contact with during the day. So most of them I would get like these big burly folders, 80-15 type, 80-10, you know, cold steel, just bigger, beefier, kind of overbuilt folders. And honestly, I don't really like them. I like something more, you know, not like necessarily gentleman's carry, but you know, something just a little more smaller, and something along this size, or like the bug out, something along that size, or even like the squid. I like carrying that little guy, and I don't really have to worry about if I'm going to run into anything that this, you know, any of these knives can't handle, because I've got a fixed blade on me, and I'm about 99.9% sure I won't ever run into anything that can't handle. But you know, even though it's, you know, it'll handle some heavy usage, you know, it's not necessarily a huge knife. It wears really well on the hip. I forget it's there 9 times out of 10. I'm not even supposed to wear it to work, because the one knife related rule that South Carolina has is you are not allowed to with a blade of over 3 inches on school property. And even though at least half the time that I'm at work I have a 10-inch long knife in my hand anyway, I guess just technically we're not supposed to bring that our own personal knife like that to work. And you know, there's been several times I'll show up and the food services director, hey, you need to leave that in your truck, you're not allowed to have that. Sure enough, be riding on my belt, I've totally forgotten that it's there. So it doesn't get in the way at all, and it allows me to carry just whatever knife strikes my fancy that morning or that afternoon that I want to carry, and not have to worry about whether or not I need to carry another folder to supplement this folder in case I run into something that this one can't handle. And plus, on top of that, if I've always got a fixed blade on me, you know, no matter how dirty or crummy the task might be, I don't ever have to worry about, you know, getting a pivot full of dirt or grime or whatever. If I feel like it's a little bit too messy to be using the folder, I'll use the fixed blade and I'm good to go. So I don't know, almost, which not really, because I mean, I do use the fixed blade a good bit, but primarily just like cutting open boxes and stuff, I'll use whatever folder I have. So it's not like I would consider the fixed blade my primary blade, but it has the potential to be if the need arises. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know, it makes sense in my head. It's just, if I always have this on me, you know, I can just carry basically whatever folder I want, which is a good thing to me, and buy whatever I want and not have to worry about, well, I'll never carry this, or pointless to buy it. But so that's my reasoning behind it. And just, you know, if you ever, in case, like, anything could happen at any given point on any given day, you know, where you get in a situation where absolutely a folder will not handle it, and you know, it's not the biggest fixed blade in the world, but it's dang sure sturdy, and it can handle, I feel like, pretty much anything that you throw at it. So that is that answer, and I hope that answers your question. And like I said, I appreciate you guys sending these questions in. It's good fun for me. All right, this next one comes from brother Jeremy Spalding, or Big Worm, or Big Papa Jer. This is one of the ones I don't think he was expecting an answer for it, but I'm giving him one anyway. And his question is, when restoring a 1946 3/4 Studebaker 3-door half convertible pickup truck, at what degree should someone set the carburetor temperature for the winter monsoon season in western Sri Lanka if said Studebaker has the AIO 23I000367420AB.5368 manual semi-automatic power glide 3-clutch tranny with the optional secondary pedal and handbrake cable conversion kit, because he's helping his friend Ibble and monsoon season is coming. Well, oddly enough, I literally just did this very thing about 3 months ago. Honestly, I figured any shade tree mechanic worth his salt would know the answer to this question, but I'll help you out this one time, Worm. And basically what I've found out is you need to go ahead and plan this job about 3 weeks in advance, because you got to look in the Farmer's Almanac to see what the projected temperature is going to be on that day at 3:27 p.m. Because you got to take that temperature and divide it by the temperature on August the 17th of the previous year in Cat's Ass, South Dakota. And when you divide those two temperatures, you take the number that you have left and multiply that by 0.67 bowls of string. You take that answer and you're going to bury it 3.5 feet deep in red clay and leave it for 6 months. And then on the first Tuesday of the 6th month, you're going to dig it up using a rubber boot and a wire whisk while singing Mary Had a Little Lamb in Cantonese. And once you've got it completely unearthed, you're going to hold it against your left cheek for 3.5 minutes. When you're done with that, you remove it from your cheek. You take the temperature of your left cheek. You're going to multiply the temperature of your left cheek by 28. You're going to add Dave and divide by Fred. And then that answer is the degree to which you set the carburetor. So I hope that helps, Worm. I hope you're able to get back in his Studebaker and driving like a champ, because he's going to need it when monsoon season hits with his 17 children and his 37 wives. He's going to need to be carrying them around, and he needs a reliable transportation to do so. And the very next question is the last question, and it's a doozy. It's probably the most difficult to answer question that was submitted, and not because I had a hard time finding the answer, because it's not really an answer that you can find. Honestly, it's more a question of the heart. You have to answer with your heart and with your emotions and with your feelings. And what Chris wants to know is, if Kevin and Kyle broke up, which one would you be interested in? And that's hard on several different levels, because it's not so much a question of, well, which one would I pick, the Ferrari or the Lambo? It's more along the lines of which one am I going to get stuck with, the Ford Fairlane or the Pinto? So, like, gut reaction, like, first thing that pops in my head when I read the question is I would want to eliminate Kev. Like, Kev would not be my choice, simply because, but honestly, it'd be kind of like dating the head cheerleader or the homecoming queen, and not a comparison between their looks, but a comparison between their attitudes, because nothing would ever be good enough for him. Like, you would always be worried that he's going to dump you and then show up at school the next day hanging all over the the backup quarterback, and nobody needs that kind of negativity in their life. Plus, like, you couldn't go on a date with him, like, out in public. He'd be so embarrassing. Like, you'd be up in the restaurant and he'd be yelling at the manager of the restaurant that his food didn't have enough salt and pepper bearings. Or, like, if you moved in together and needed to buy an appliance like a washing machine or a dryer or something, you go to buy the dryer and you'd hear him clear across Lowe's, opening and shutting the dryer doors, hollering about the detent on this dryer door sucks. I mean, it's just be ridiculous. Plus, you wouldn't be able to buy him any gifts because those wouldn't be good enough for him. He's the only dude I know that needs 2 trash cans when he's unwrapping presents, because he's got to have a trash can for the wrapping paper and then one for the present. And like, buying you gifts, like, he's the type dude that, I mean, and I can just picture it, his little 5'0", 85 pounds of fluff and smell good wife is sitting there opening her present at Christmas time, and she pulls out this big honking slim midi that's like 3/4 of the size of her, and just looks at him dumbfounded. And of course, he's that husband that's like, well, hon, I just wanted you to enjoy my hobby with me. I wanted you to have the same appreciation that I do. I wanted something that we could do together, because he's always talking about dang Richie and Lindy Lou and how lucky they are. So his wife's like, what the hell am I going to do with this slim midi? Well, of course, 3 weeks later, he's carrying it and flipping it all the dang time. And then she questions him. Oh, well, I just didn't want it to go to waste. It was just sitting there, not getting used. So I figured I'd put it to some use. But it's your knife, so whenever you want it back, just let me know and you can get it back. And then probably on top of that, probably on his kid's birthday, he'd probably buy them a knife and just be like, oh, I'll just hold on to it until they're old enough. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So buying gifts for him would suck. Him buying gifts for you would suck. Pretty much holidays are screwed. Can't go on a date with him. Just really don't want to go anywhere in public with him. So, I mean, it's looking honestly like Kyle is the right choice here. But, well, and then no, because he would never be able to get your daggum friends' names right. Like, you'd run across one of your friends somewhere and Kyle would be like, well, hey, how's it going there, Assalon? How have you been? You're like, Kyle, her name's Allison. Well, yeah, that's what I said, Assalon. What's up, Assalon? And then, well, plus they would probably be confused as hell at him, because they would always assume that he was a good foot taller than he actually is. He shows up and they're thinking he's 6'5" and he's like 4'3", because this whatever whacked out camera that he uses, somehow instead of adding 10 pounds, it adds like 10 inches to your height. And then on top of that, while he's sitting over there chain smoking like an old Jewish woman, it adds 10 inches to the length of his cigarette, so it looks like he's smoking Roman candles and sweating like a whore in church. So, I mean, that's just not an attractive picture at all. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like probably flip a coin. So, let's see here. Heads and tails. No, let's do heads. It's got a head on it. And tails. 6'1", half dozen of the other. Heads, it's Kevin. Tails, it's Kyle. Oh, shit. It's Kevin. Oh, dear God, I hope they never break up. For real, man. But no, dude, dang, I'm talking about it like I'm obligated. If they break up, I've got to choose one. No, okay, that was purely hypothetical, and that's my story and answer, and I'm sticking to it. Done deal, over and done with. I hope that answers your question, Chris, and I hope I answered all your questions, and I hope it was at least a semi-entertaining video. I appreciate you guys stopping by and taking the time to listen to me babble on and on about some senseless, meaningless crap. And you're all welcome back anytime. And I love each and every one of you. And until next time, guys, get on out there, EDC your ass off, and do something nice for somebody. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.